If you're feeling like you're always tired, you're not alone. Surveys have shown that on average, adults in the US feel tired for 3 days of the week, and a staggering 30 to 48% of adults report having trouble sleeping. But for a lot of us, the problem isn't just sleep quantity. It's actually the sleep anxiety that comes from believing common myths. That's what we're debunking in this video. The science behind sleep can be quite complex. Even those with a medical background can find it confusing at times. It's often hard to figure out what's actually good advice to follow and what is bad advice to ignore. For example, Matthew Walker's book, Why We Sleep, while very good, sometimes contributed to a craze, a kind of thinking like, oh my God, I need my 8 hours. If I don't get them, I'm doomed to Alzheimer's and cardiovascular problems. All of this feeds into sleep anxiety, the feeling of being scared, worried, or concerned about your sleep, which paradoxically actually further contributes to you being unable to sleep. And this creates a vicious cycle, a cycle which is definitely not good. Fortunately, leading sleep expert Professor Wessel Foster from the University of Oxford, through his extensive research, sheds light on these issues. This video will cover 7 key sleep myths, drawing from Professor Foster's expertise to help you get a better night's sleep. So if you've fallen into believing some of these myths, hopefully this video can help you out. Let's get started. Myth number 1. It doesn't matter when you sleep, as long as you sleep enough. But it turns out, when we sleep is actually very important. This is because of our circadian rhythm. This is essentially your body's internal clock, signaling needs based on time and impacting almost every aspect of our health. In the 1990s, Russell Foster and his research group discovered that there are specific cells in our eyes. These cells are only responsible for detecting light, rather than helping us to see images. This light detection mechanism in our eyes tells our brain the time of day and helps regulate our internal master clock. Now, since our internal clocks are so sensitive to light, it means that generally we want to be awake when it's bright outside and we want to be asleep when it's dark outside. This alignment is key. Professor Foster's group has researched what happens when the circadian rhythm is affected. For example, when people sleep at irregular times. Think about jet lag or people working night shifts. They found that in people with this disruption, you get an increase in stress hormones and an increase in the risk of heart disease. These people also get sick much more often. They're also more prone to emotional and cognitive problems. Professor Foster notes that 97% of night shift workers don't adapt, essentially fighting their own biology. Now, not all internal clocks are identical. You've heard of morning people or night owls, right? That's your chronotype, your body's natural inclination to sleep at a certain time. Once you know your chronotype, try to organize your high-focus activities around it. Working with your biology is key, as forcing a different schedule can be a real nightmare. Myth number 2. Everyone needs 8 hours of sleep. The reality, as Professor Foster emphasized, is that sleep needs vary greatly. An average isn't an optimum for all of us. Healthy sleep can range from under 6 hours to over 10 hours due to individual variation. So don't fixate on a magic number. That fixation can itself cause sleep anxiety. Instead, learn your body's own signals. Did you wake up naturally feeling refreshed, or did an alarm jolt you awake? Waking naturally usually means you've had enough sleep. Did it take ages to feel alert, perhaps needing caffeine? That might mean not enough sleep. And what about your behavior? Unusual mistakes or increased irritability could mean your body needed more rest, regardless of the hours shown on the clock. Myth number 3. We should wake up at the same time every day. Now, this isn't entirely a myth. Professor Foster clarifies, yes, a consistent wake-up time is generally good, but you don't need to be overly pedantic about it. Consistency reinforces signals that regulate the circadian system.
So, regular eating and light exposure also help stabilize your internal clock. However, having said that, life happens. A late party, for instance, means you'll likely get up later. Sleep is dynamic. Also, our circadian rhythms change with age. Teenagers, for example, are often evening types. As we age, many of us shift to a morning chronotype, similar to when we were young.
Myth number 4. You should avoid blue light before sleep. This idea stems from blue light having short, energetic wavelengths. A Harvard group conducted a study where people read a Kindle at its brightest intensity for 4 hours before bed for 5 consecutive nights. The result? It delayed sleep onset by just 10 minutes. Professor Foster called this statistically significant but biologically meaningless for most people. So, reading on a backlit Kindle before bed likely isn't a major concern for most individuals. By the way, if you're enjoying these myth busts, please hit that like button.
Myth number 5. Sleep apps help you sleep better. Some people find that if an app shows a low sleep score, they suddenly feel worse, even if they felt fine before. This can act as a kind of negative placebo. As Professor Foster advises, take sleep app data with a pinch of salt. Currently, no sleep apps are endorsed by sleep federations or FDA approved for medical accuracy. Many are validated on very small, specific groups of people. Since sleep varies greatly, one algorithm isn't appropriate for everyone. The bottom line? Yes, it can be nice to see your sleep score if you enjoy optimizing things. But actually, the biological and psychological signals your body is giving you, like how you felt when you woke up and your energy levels throughout the day, those signals are way more important than an app's score.
Myth number 6. Melatonin helps us sleep better. Melatonin is a popular supplement, often used for jet lag and sometimes for general sleep issues. The best studies, like one conducted on autistic children, showed it could reduce the time to fall asleep by about 30 minutes for that specific group. However, many other studies and a large 2013 meta-analysis showed minimal effect for the general population. This amounted to an average of only about 7 minutes sooner to sleep, which, frankly, is not particularly impressive. Professor Foster, in his book Lifetime, concludes that it doesn't make much difference for most people's day-to-day sleep. It might offer a slight benefit for jet lag by helping to reset your clock, but it's generally not a solution for day-to-day sleep difficulties. Interested in sleep? I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What have you tried to improve your sleep? Did it work or didn't it work? Let's crowdsource some tips. Myth number 7. Polyphasic sleep is good for your productivity. Now, polyphasic sleep schedules were a bit of a biohacking trend. The basic idea is that you sleep at multiple, short intervals throughout the day, maybe a couple of hours at night combined with naps, supposedly to gain more waking hours. And all of the data, as Professor Foster explains, suggests that this is a really bad idea for most people. So, even though polyphasic sleep, in theory, gives us more waking hours in which we can be productive, Professor Foster actually states that the quality of work we can produce in those extra hours is generally much lower. This is because we tend to be more exhausted and therefore significantly less productive and less creative. Studies even show that students on polyphasic schedules tend to do worse in exams compared to those with normal monophasic sleep. So, experts suggest that splitting your sleep like this doesn't actually help productivity, despite what some blogs might claim. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video and these myth busts, you might like to explore Professor Foster's work further for deeper insights. Thank you so much for watching and see you later. Bye-bye.